even some of the best results across the last 2 to 3 years have been achieved without us having on paper the best 11. We knew that's why everyone's saying we got the depth to go over the line of things. These are factors. There's obviously relevance to the story, but we're at the point, and I'm sure Jess would agree. We hear that we're past that. It's about getting over the line,
Gotta get
regardless.
it
Now
over the line.
there's too much lived experiences,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah, it's just too many mitigating circumstances. And even when you have
It's
everything
bottom line
going
now.
your way, you still can't get it done, so there's something missing. And they got to figure out, what that is. But, I'd probably start right at the tippy top, because ultimately there's no way that you can look at this team that's been built in Arteta's image and preclude him from from what's happening. You can't just set him to the side and say, this guy's a genius. Let's look at everyone else. I'm seeing lists of 8, 9 players that got to go. I'm like, let's start at the top. Let's look at the manager. Let's look at him, because he's the only thing that hasn't changed.
Just they don't rate him as much as they claim. Because if you rated the gaffer, you want to, we see all of the statistics that reflect that we're a competitive team. It was about becoming a great team, getting some greatness, getting paid, getting something that's going down in history. We know about the fact that, all right, cool, big you up, 2 semi-finals now in 140 years of our history. We have shown consistency to be second. You've got to the latter stages of competitions. You have made us competitive. But you just might not be that guy, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you really rate the gaffer, which I do think you're one of the best in the Prem. I do think once you exclude like the Pep Guardiolas, the Luis Enriquez, all them kind of man, they step below. You're part of that. But if we believe that and believe these players, we can't keep coming up with excuses. The manager said coming into the season, you've seen what we've done with 3 years. We now need to do it on the 4th time. You saw him talk about I need to earn a contract. We've all seen Saliba and all of these players talk about winning trophies. And the players obviously have to take responsibility. But whatever way you shape it, there's been many different circumstances. It has to fall on the gaffer. The gaffer hasn't become something. Even if I look at Lewis, because you mentioned it, yeah, you mentioned PSG, and I'll mention City, yeah. I'm not asking you to be PSG. I'm not asking you to be Manchester City. You're definitely not Pep Guardiola. You're definitely not Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique does what you do, but it's on steroids. He gives you, there's 10 tasks to win a game. He makes sure his team do 9. On the last one, he says, you know what? I know I need my fullbacks to do this and my wingers to do that. I'm going to let you lot play free. You see the fullbacks from them teams on the same side. I look at Pep Guardiola, the exact same. If there's 3 players, yeah, very different. But you look at Pep Guardiola's philosophy. On paper, regardless of how good Haaland is, that's not a Pep Guardiola striker. Donnarumma's not a Pep Guardiola goalkeeper. And Ryan Cherky, on paper, isn't one of their players. But they have found a way to make it work, and you haven't. This is why I don't want to hear about it's his players and things. We're still talking about the same conversations. Even looking at Kai Havertz against City. You actually think you played well, bar the obvious. You summed up Kai Havertz. The goal he scored is a Kai Havertz kind of goal. You can do the system kind of stuff. When we need you to be decisive, you can't do it. And at some point, I can't criticizing the players. We can't take squad players and then be surprised that they do well, but they don't get us over the line. He has lived experiences, obviously, in the last 3 years, 4, including this. You've been at Manchester City and in the tail end of a season. Obviously, I can't just blame you for injuries, but we keep finding ourselves for whatever reason in this. And we came into the season with a lot of injuries. Bearing in mind, Kai Havertz has had 2 hamstring ones. It's been stop-start. It's all your fault. And then it leads me to ask you this, Jess, like this, big up the super chat. I need to see these players with another coach. Where do you stand on that? Do you think like another coach could obviously win this league? Because I was having this conversation with my friend. Beyond the obvious, yeah, I think, forget the Liverpool Klopp that obviously won the Premier League and was fighting 90 points and he didn't win it, yeah. I think if the guy, if Jurgen Klopp at Dortmund came to Arsenal now with this squad, I think he gets over the line. I genuinely think he gets it over the line. For whatever reason, I think he gets it over the line. Like, so then it leads me to ask this, like, are you at the point where you need to see these players with another coach? Are you open to it? How do you think that pans out?
Yeah, and I think so. I'm just, but I was saying this probably like 2 years ago. I'm just like, I think my last, like, let's give it another go with Mikel was, I was so disappointed in that one summer window where we just got Calafiori Marino. I was like, this is just ridiculous, but after last season, I definitely was like, we definitely need a new manager. There's no way that you just do 3 times and you still don't get it over the line. Like, there's just no way anything by that, but at the same time, it's just like, I just hate the conversations that come around Mikel and moving him on, because people are not going to support a new manager because they put their flag down in the sand with Mikel for some reason. And it's just like, I don't get what he's done for you guys to be so enamored with him. I was down with giving him time because you need to give him time. And really,
I fuck
after
with him, but he's not bigger than the system.
yeah, because I wanted him out after he was playing Willian, and we were like in 12th or something like that. And I was like, he done lost the dressing room. And then he started playing Saka and Emil Smith Rowe, and we improved. And it's like, cool. Between that time and the 22-23 season was like 2 seasons. And then it was like, okay, when are we going to start win things? So there's been like kind of like a this with him. But ultimately, what it comes down to for me is like, I don't think the players are inspired by you. And I don't think that they're ever going to be the types of players that fully go like down tools because they're nice
They might
boys.
just need new voices.
Yeah. And I think that, they're going to play, but it's very obvious to me that they're not inspired. Like they don't play, they play like the weight of the world is on their shoulders. You do absolutely nothing to put the stuff on you and let them be free. You do nothing. Everything is like weighed down. So yeah, I think that he needs to go. And I would love to see the remnants of whatever's left of his team with someone else. Cause I do think that if we just had a new voice in the room that just lightens the mood a little bit, it would help. It's just too much, it's just too much. And it's a lot to find another manager that's going to be able to deal with the situation that we're in which we haven't won anything or the Premier League in 20 something years. And there's going to be an immediate, like, you need to win right now, here and now. It's going to be difficult, but we have to get started on it. We can't just prolong it. Arteta is not going to get it done. We
need to be open to everything, man. Like until you get over the line, we need to be open to everything. The first thing and people are going to say, and everyone can recognize he's a good coach. He's going to go win stuff. If he doesn't do it here, there's an issue. Who are you going to go and get? We could get better. We could get worse. Anything could happen. But at some point, you've got to try something new because you know already what's already happening on paper. Like, and even that, who we're going to get, I don't know. But when Mikel Arteta came to this football club, what CV did he have? You worked with Mick, you worked with Pep Guardiola. So somebody at the club, granted they probably left now, but somebody at the club recognized, oh, there could be something here. Great stuff. And one thing that jars me about the like, there's a lot of negativity around the manager, but there's a lot of excuses. People want to put him in big conversations, put us in big conversations, and then not ask fair questions. It feels like people are more than happy to criticize other fans. They're more than happy to criticize players, but then you don't want to ask questions of the manager, who's actually made us believe more than ever since we've moved to the Emirates Stadium and in this era that we can win the league title. We've taken it down to the last day of the season. Last year was a complete write-off and failure of many circumstances. You're crumbling right at the end. We all hope that we look back at this live stream and say, you know what, DG and Jess, you lot jumped the gun. You was that angry and all of those things. We want that. But something has to change at some point. You've been given money. People have come in. You've gone from a head coach to a manager. You've given us some good nights out. As I keep saying, you've made us competitive. But getting over the line, you might not be that guy. You might not be a winner. We might have to have a divorce for Arsenal to win a league. You might have to go. For you to achieve what you need to achieve in this life, you might have to go. Sometimes that's just life,
Arteta would have never survived anywhere else that's considered a top team. Like a big club, he would have never survived at any of those big clubs because he hasn't delivered anything. Inzaghi at least delivered Inter something and then ended up going through last season trophyless, was embarrassed in the Champions League final, and bottled the league, if that's what you want to call it, let Napoli sweep it out from underneath their feet, got rid of him, and they're most likely going to win the league this season with their new coach, so, and people make fun of Serie A and say it's not a serious league or whatever, the Premier League. Arteta has the cushiest job in world football because he doesn't have to deliver anything and people still listen to him. People clutching their pearls over Arsenal fans booing, they should have been booing for a long time. They should have been booing.
Same fans praise you up and down the country. So if they want to boo, they can boo.
Yeah, just let them, like, they should be able to boo
They
and
praised you
be
against City. You lost.
unhappy with what they're seeing, but Arteta's been very comfortable for a long time. He's probably not going to go anywhere, but what will end up happening is the apathy will happen, where it's already setting in, where what if you don't feel like you can make a change or nothing's going to change, but you don't like what you're seeing, you're just going to be a lot less invested in what's going on. And so he'll be begging for the fans to bring lunches and shit again next season, and it's not gonna land, so I don't know. But Arteta's a good coach, and there's no doubt in my mind that he has done quite a bit to get us to where we are.
You up for that?
But I'm over that now. Like, why haven't you haven't even won a Karabuki, bro? Like, no Karabukis, no FA Cups, nothing. Like, you got into one final. That's shocking to me. That's beyond the Prem, because the Prem is like, you got to be the best team. You have to be better than everyone else. I get that. That could be really difficult over a 30-something game period. But you can't even scam a cup? Not even scam it. Something's up. Something's up. And like Josh is saying, like, don't show up for games. The amount of times that I've seen this team not show up in do or die moments, that alone, I need Arteta gone just for that. Why are they not up for Carabao Cup final? Why are they not
Why
up for
you
it?
not up for it?
Yeah, like, why are they not up for it? What is it about you that's not inspiring this team? Because you can't get rid of the whole team, but I can get rid of you. You can't get rid of the whole team. You can't. And maybe the only way to keep some of our better players that are probably disillusioned is to go out there and get a winner. Because I would not be surprised.
Contracts, to be fair.
You have to do something. But they're afraid to move because I feel like when you're confident and you're running, you have a well-oiled machine, you can make big decisions because you're confident in your process. I think people that have analysis paralysis or just stay in the same situation for a long time don't trust themselves to make big decisions when the pressure is on. And I think that's more of the reason why they keep Arteta, because they feel like reaching for more is more risky than keeping us where we're at right now.
Not taking a risk is a risk.
Yeah, exactly. And basically what will end up being, and this is no shade to them because they could bop us in the next round of the Champions League, but we'll end up being Atletico Madrid, where we may win something every once in a while, and we'll have this manager.
At least we only got 2 league titles.
Yeah, and they do, but that's kind of what will be, where Arsenal fans, or at least for me, I'm trying to get back to being top of the Premier League, not the guy that's fighting to claw my way. But if we go, with nothing, it's, we tried, and I'm not trying to do all that. And that's not them, because I get it. Simeone's won things, but it's the ethos of it that you're always, what it is? It's the perpetual underdog, where you're always, and even if you're spending money, even if you got ballers, even if everything, we're the underdogs. And I don't think Arsenal are an underdog. I think that's not how I view my team. Is that how you view Arsenal, as an underdog?
No, I just want to win shit. I'm at the point I just want to win shit. Like, I don't really care if we're underdogs, we're these guys. I just think we flirted with the idea of getting over the line. We're closer to getting over the line than the other way, and we keep trying to do the same things. And it's annoying. And I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Big up Grim Reaper because you're a mod, yeah. But this is one thing that annoys me, yeah. This comment. And I've spoken about this before, so I'd love to get your thoughts. I honestly think these conversations should be until after the season. There are 5 games to go. If we was running away with the league and we was talking about a new deal and whatnot, even if we kept playing the same stinky way, nobody's going to sit there and say these conversations should be said at the end of the year. If you don't, I'm not attacking you, but if you don't want to hear it, you're going to have to leave, mate, because I don't know what else to tell you. It's nothing. Us fans speaking, it doesn't mean anything. The players have to go and get it done. We have lost our last 2 domestic games, right? Against Bournemouth, against City. The fans cheered. The fans at the Emirates have cheered you all season. You lost both them games. Fair enough. One was at home, one was away. The performance was there against City, so you got applause. You're going to get booed and things. And if manager, the players, if you can't handle the pressure when it's bad and everything's going wrong, then there's issues. What do you think is meant to happen at Liverpool, at Arsenal, at Manchester United? If you go up to the upper echelons of this, of Real Madrid, of Barca, even a couple of clubs that were bigger than in France, I see them Marseille man move mad. Like
Yeah,
everybody wants to talk the talk, and unfortunately, yeah, one thing that isn't necessarily these lot's faults, but everything we've been critical of, you haven't won the trophy, the Premier League in 20 odd years. There's that stigma around you, and obviously with what you've done, and I make Jess right, yeah. Even if, as much as we want to be at the top, win everything, chase that, yeah, there's been multiple occasions in the last 4 years. Everyone would agree in the last 4 years we've had an opportunity to win a Premier League, maybe two, maybe three, maybe even four on the spin, and pick up domestic cups. So dead, like, but what do you make of, because there is that logic as well, just about
no,
this.
I get that, but at the same time, I would say that the fact that these conversations are being had gives you it's that's the answer for you. Like we should still be feeling like we have a chance, but the fact that most people have already fast forwarded to the doom and gloom shows you everything you need to know about what people think about Mikel Arteta and this team. That's just the truth. It's just the dooming started a long time ago. I get it that we can possibly still win it, but we all know. We all know.
It's out of man's hand now, man. Like,
yeah,
again, keep fighting to the death, but it's out
I
of your
get
hands
it.
now, and it shouldn't be here, bro. You've had
We shouldn't be
opportunities.
here. Yeah, because it's just, I get it. But if
It's
you actually
unexcusable, players and the
yeah,
manager.
do you believe that we can do it? No. Even if something is mathematically
But I hope, but
doable,
believe.
I don't believe it's going to happen.
You have
So
my
that's
support, but
just,
believe Smith.
that's just what it is, but yeah, ultimately, I don't know. I think that, as Arsenal, what do you want to be? I'm seeing people say it's entitled to think that we should be more than just like an underdog clawing at the top.
Gaslighting.
I don't necessarily agree, but even if we are an underdog, we should be able to win a Carabao Cup here and there.
Wait, no, just sorry to cut you. Scratch that. Wait, because I think you're talking about this comment. How is that entitlement? Because this is the word. Like, I'm a big fan of actually listening to what people are saying. How is that entitlement? Like, how? Because by all means, criticize what Jess has said on me, but how does that, like, how does that make you entitled?
But
She ain't
here's
said
the
we
thing
were the biggest
too.
and bullies and that.
Yeah, but this is the thing too. It's if you guys are okay with being a perennial underdog, don't chat to anyone. Don't chat ever. Don't talk about Mikel being anything. Don't talk about this team being anything. Don't nothing. Then you can't.
Stop trying to
We
sit at the
can't
big boy
always be
table.
talking like we're up here, but then when there's something that you have to do in order to prove, then it's like, nah, we're underdogs though. We're underdogs though. You should never expect to win anything because we're underdogs. Nah, I'm not trying to hear that. When I started watching Arsenal, we were not underdogs. We weren't. We were maybe underdogs in comparison to what Sir Alex Ferguson had built, but our Arsene went toe to toe with him with no money for a minute. So that's all I'm saying is this is not the Arsenal that I remember. And even if we are perennial underdogs, Simeone, like you guys have said, don't disrespect him, has won things. Arteta is being spoken about like he's Pep, but he hasn't even won what Simeone has won. So I'm not trying to, it's a disconnect. You guys don't act like underdogs because when it comes down to it, you're always chatting. And I get it. We can go back and forth with Spurs and stuff like that. I get that. Go back and forth here and there. But ultimately, we can't really talk to many people because we're not really winning. So I'm not really trying to hear that. It's like, I want people to respect us. But then when it comes down to it and you need to earn that respect, we're underdogs. I'm not trying to hear that.
Exactly.
I don't view Arsenal as underdogs. And maybe if I start to accept that, then what's the point?
My thing as well, Jess, is like a lot of people think for what it's worth, I don't think we're gonna see a Alex Ferguson thing anymore. I don't think we're gonna see like what Manchester City have done, even with their money when Pep goes. That's dominance for me in it. Like that's dominance. I don't think we're going to see that. But there is this caveat of once we do finally get over the line, it's gonna kickstart bare things. My point is not even to debate that. The past brings regrets. In the last 4 years and counting, God forbid, but including this year, there's regrets. There's regrets since we've moved to the Emirates. There's a lot of uncertainty about the future. You don't know what tomorrow brings. Unfortunately, though, when something falls in our lap in the present moment, whether we've earned it, whether we've earned it or it's just randomly happened, like we didn't expect to be there in the 2022-23 season, we don't cool, we didn't expect to find this money. Let's put this in my wallet. Like, I'm on the train, it's in my wallet, I'm gone. We don't seize the present moment. And I think for the players and Mikel Arteta, that's a fucking shame. Like, and it's not on.
Yeah.
And what did I say to you in August? For me, I don't want to have these conversations. I said that. And I also don't want you lot to feel like how you've probably felt at some point in the Premier League when it's really done. Everybody's here has played sport of some degree. When you're in that dressing room, everybody's down and upbeat. That's regret. We have not been disciplined. We have not tried to transform ourselves, or it's not evident to me as a fan. Like, I'm sure they are, but I'm not at London Colney, so it's jarring,
exactly.
man.
And again, like, I'm not trying to go back and forth, but like when we talk about underdogs, and I get that we're going up against City, but my example of that is back then, like objectively speaking, contextually speaking, relativity, Sir Alex Ferguson was Pep. When I started watching, they had everything. They had a great team.
They won the war. We won 2 battles, including at their ground.
And Arsene snatched a couple of Premier Leagues from underneath them, you know, and also was winning domestic cups. He didn't win the big Champions League, but I don't think you would ask Thierry Henry and say, so are we underdogs? They would never have said that. You know, yeah. And maybe I'm just living in the past and I just can't accept it. But if there's only one team that's better than you, and there's 4 trophies on offer, and they only win 2 of them or 3, we should win 1 of them. Like, we're not winning shit. That's what I'm saying. We should at least scrape us something. Like,
everything's been geared towards winning, but actually winning
one time, man. Like, just once. And again, if Arteta had won anything in these last 6 seasons, 2 or 3 trophies, people would feel differently about him, but we haven't smiled at all at the end in May. It's getting long. I'm tired now. He's got to go. He's got to go.
It's jarring, man, because that's the main thing. We haven't got over that. I just actually feel for the manager and these players, yeah. You lot should be going down in Arsenal history in some degree, whether that's the first Premier League or the Emirates era / in 20 odd years and counting, whether that's the first team to win the champs, couple of League Cups, extending the FA Cup, which, let's have it right, since we've won that, it's been atrocious. You lot are not going down in history, and you deserve to go down in it. Well, you don't, because you ain't done it, but that's the problem. And I make Jess right. Like, I do think there's a lot of natural football fans, like fans that are purists, that can have a laugh and a joke, regardless of clubs. They can speak about stuff. But there's also the casual football fan that wants naturally tribalism. I'm the best. We're the best thing since sliced bread. If you're gonna say that, then heads need to roll when things don't happen, especially because we've been close and we're collapsing at the end. Even if I take the basic view, whatever way it is, we all know, April's a shaky month for Arsenal. Generally, in the last however many years. What are we seeing now? It feels a bit.
We're never ready in April. In April, it always is collapsing, whether that's, you know, a ton more injuries than you've ever seen, players just not looking up for it, poor results. Like, all of a sudden we can't
manager of the month as well, man.
Doing. You know, it's just gross. Like, April is disgusting, like every time. And it's like, at a certain point, I can't look at the players anymore. And yes, they have to take some responsibility, but ultimately I'm looking at, so we can't get rid of all of you. I'm tired of there being like an 8-person list that if we just get rid of these players and replace them, that Arteta had every opportunity to basically walk this league this season. Every opportunity to walk this league this season. He had one last season, couldn't do it because they didn't have the depth. This season, we had it again, and we didn't do it, you know? So I'm just not trying to hear, and of course we do still have to get rid of players. I understand that, but going again with him and giving him more money, knowing that the main issue is when we get to April, he can't get us over the line, because that's why you pay him $15 million a year. He's getting paid like the top managers in the world. And that's why you pay them, because they're the differentiating factor. If a coach didn't make a difference, put me on the sideline. The coach is one of the biggest differences you can make, and he's not doing it. He's not doing it.
And I know there's a fear that if he goes elsewhere, he'll succeed and all of these things. I don't doubt that, but sometimes you might have to just try something different. Like, how much of a percentage is on the players as well? I'm past it, like, because Thank you for getting us here. You might have just, same way they say Arsene Wenger got the planning permission and all of that. You might have been the guy just to, to put a lick of paint. We're competitive again. I will never dish you for that, Mikel Arteta. If you just might not have it in you at this moment in time. There might be a next man and we get worse. There might be a next man that could even do I know it's short-term thinking, but could even do a slot last year. Like, I'm at Liverpool. Can't believe I could win a title here. Let me just run, get this done. Whatever happens, happens. We might be at that point. How much percentage for you is on the players, though?
I mean, I don't even know if it's like, it's 60% Arteta and it's 40% the players. I think they're both at fault.
1 million.
And they both have to, if we end up trophyless, they both have to hold that. I'm just looking at it more like, who can I get rid of that's going to make the biggest difference moving forward? I do not think that these players are without any blame. The biggest thing, though, is Arteta chose every single one of these players, basically. I know there'll be people saying, but this wasn't his signing. This wasn't his signing. Like you said earlier.
It's signing when it's the guys that don't work. It's always them.
Pep has been able to work with players that aren't 100% Pep players, and he's still able to get something out of them. So I'm really not trying to hear any of that.
I don't want to hear no romance because it's Mighty Ducks Coach Carter settings right now. I don't want that no more.
He got 8 players in the summer. He got 8 players in the summer. So I'm really I'm not hearing you. And we really only needed to do a couple of things. I think we could have had virtually the exact same defense, conceded a couple more goals. But if that attack had been exactly what we asked for, an actual left winger and a striker and Eze, we would have been fine. We still somehow avoided the one position that we really needed. So because we wanted to get Madueke, because Madueke won, is Chelsea will give us smaller payments, because we're cheap as fuck. And
right for Saka like him. Big up money, but no one don't care about that.
Yeah. And he's a project. He's a project. And I don't know if it's Arteta's ego and he has to have a player that he's attributed to making into something. I don't know what it is, but my goodness, can you not just buy somebody who's ready to fucking go? Somebody that we know is a baller. I don't know, but I'm at the stage with Mikel now where it's you've been here the whole time. You're the common denominator.
You're the common denominator at the moment.
Yeah, you're the common denominator. You have a completely different team than what you had before. So why am I acting like the players? Obviously, some of them, their reps are shot to hell after this season. If they go with nothing, they can never chat again. They can never. I will never believe again in you specifically. But the manager chose all of these players. So I'm seeing people at the end of that game talking about Kai Havertz. I'm like, that's Arteta begged for him.
How can you get vexed?
Yeah, Arteta begged for him. Why are we still complaining about Kai? Kai's not going to get any better. We know what he is. I don't know. Arteta begged for that guy. When he saw that he was available, he went away from the Xhaka kind of profile and went for this, whatever it is. What do you want to call it? Second striker bullshit. Whatever, to put in our midfield.
And he weren't even trying to run him up front. We all know Kai can play up front, but you tried to make him replace Granit. Granit and Welbeck, by the way, still walk into our team. You have to hold that. What Jess said there. I'm not getting vexed.
I'm always shocked. Whenever the ball goes in the back of the net when Kai scores, I'm like, oh, he scored. Because I always assume it's not going in the back of the net. So why am I going to be for
Kai, if I'm honest?
Kai's shit. Kai's this, Kai's that. We've been known that. Arteta spent 60-something million on him after we had almost won the league.
And we needed Shaw bets in the final third, so you bring in another one. That's why I don't get vexed at Noni. Noni, I don't get vexed at you. Obviously, you need to do better and all of that, but you're a project, quote unquote, that I didn't think we needed. I'm more looking at the gaffer, and I've been saying that you need to make it work. Obviously, you've brought in, Kai Havertz, like you said. I actually think he done all right against City. Of course, the 2 chances on knife edge, he fell to bag, and there was obviously where Trossard's put that ball in. But you look at our attack. Nobody's a shoot. The only surprise, we've only had about 3 or 2.5 surprises in attack this season. We've seen Martinelli be a bit of a super sub, stocks kind of high. Trossard season generally until the turn of the year. That's been the only kind of Max Dowman. they're the only surprises. If anything, you know, we're not shocked. We're shocked if these guys score. We're shocked if they don't. The only negative surprise is Saka. And you've probably been older shit kind of season from you. That's the only thing I'm surprised about.
Yeah.
Defense wins games, defense wins titles, goals win games. We have not got that. And what I don't understand is we've got a very good defensive ethos as a team, the way we press, the shape, all that kind of jazz. Personnel wise, we know about the people in defense, and you've got Rice. Why not gamble a bit more? You see, like what we saw in terms of the performance in the first half against City, where we've gone man to man to the point where we said there's a trade-off. Haaland might get 1v1, but we might win something here. Eze's going to let us down defensively, which he did, but he's going to give us something. The man-to-man pressing, that's too late. That should have been there time ago. That should have been there at the beginning of the season. Newcastle, ironically, we're playing Newcastle on Saturday, yeah? Newcastle away is still the best I think we've performed in the league, regardless of if we've thumped teams up or not.
Yeah.
Only got themselves to blame, man.
Yeah,
you've run your midfield into the ground. You've not used other people's first final in 6 years. Even if you believe in Kepa, you better make sure you win. That tells me you're putting feelings above the team. So everything good and bad is on you, Gaffer.
And also, Arteta, your back being against the wall and me seeing you use Eze and Odegaard together really just showed me everything I need to know, because that should have always been the play. I don't know why Eze only played on the left like once or twice at the very beginning of the season. And all of a sudden it was like, I'll never play him there. And there were times where he was on the bench and
you have to be forced to do these things.
Yeah. And you doing that when your back is against the wall tells me everything, because you knew that you had to get a result there and you did the right thing and played the right group. And you kind of got results, but you know, it's just pissed me off because it's like, we've been known that shit. We've been known Eze should have been playing on the left. We've been known that. Like, he should have been. He is better on the left than both Martinelli and Trossard. I'm sorry.
Just play him, Odegaard, and Rice.
Yeah, just play them all together. If you have an opportunity to play Eze and Odegaard together, you should. Because Odegaard can different relationships and Eze can score goals. Like, what are we doing here? Like, he just annoys me so bad because he just does nonsense, man. But I'm done. Like, with Arteta, I'm tired, you know? Like, I don't believe in you, dog. Like, I really don't. I don't believe in you,
the season on borrowed time. Everybody, manager, players, it was time to deliver. So don't flip it now, people. Again, I don't want to hear it. I'm more than anyone. I'm more than happy to sit about contexts and give people their praise and their critique, but it's about the bottom line and delivering now. The project is done. We've rebuilt the team. It's just become about winning. And at this moment in time, Arteta has shown an inability to do that. Now, in the 7 games left in all comps, the 5 we've got in the Premier League, and the 2 in the Champions League as a minimum, potentially 3, obviously. So 7 to 8 games. I hope it all goes right. But we've been talking about this from last season. We've been talking about it from August till now. And now all the chickens have come to roost, really. So
I'm sick
it's
of
out
it.
of your hands now.
Players are broken down that we've said we're getting broken down. They're broken into itty bitty little pieces. They can barely walk. You know, it's just, you got an attack that we've been complaining about for years is barely scoring at this point. Like, I remember bringing that up probably a couple months ago, that they were all in like single digits except for like Gyökeres. You know, they were like in single digits for goals.
Taking him to the end of the year, really.
Yeah. And yeah, but we share the goals. At the end of the day, your defender should be fucking defending and your attacker should be freaking scoring. Everything is backwards with us. Like, everything is backwards. Remember we were talking about Timber and these guys in half spaces, but you can't find your wingers. Your wingers are in fullback spots. Like, he's just lost the plot.
And if you're going to do this, I'm more than happy. Just make it work, because that was the thing. Nobody's happy with the way we play football. I think entertainment's subjective. I don't necessarily care about entertainment because I've seen us be entertaining and not get over the line. But it's just about over the line. So if the football's not up to par, you're not getting the best out of your tools, you're not delivering, we're kind of watching the same movie on repeat. You've got to ask questions, because I actually don't think I do think our players have a mentality problem, but I think it's like a new mentality problem. I don't think it's you wet the bed, like whatever Troy Deeney used to say. But when it's do or die, sink or swim, we're in issues. And even that, I said this yesterday, Jess. For me, we don't actually have that many lows in the season. We don't lose that much. But when the lows come, the lows are very low. Arteta talks a lot about small and fine margins and all of these things, which are right. We're never on the right side of those. PSG, we weren't on the right side. Half the time when there's a lot of possession and it looks even with our eyes, we're not on the right side. Sometimes it comes down to basic competencies. Kai Havertz, you've had 2-3 chances, you haven't bagged the goal we've required. City have. Other than that, it's quote unquote maybe a bit even. It's issues. And in terms of the learning, one thing that peed me off is you took too long to bring on Gyökeres. When you did, we didn't commit to finding him. So you were not knowing how to use certain individuals. And to a degree, you have to let your nuts hang. Eze, I actually think Eze had a bit of a mixed game, but there was a point he started to drop shoulders, he's hit the post. Leave the man on the pitch.
Yeah, I didn't really understand why he took him off. Like, I didn't get it. I was like, you could have taken off Zubi. He was doing the least. I was like, just take off Zubi. That you can still progress the ball. He was just so, I don't know. I with Arteta, I don't know how you feel about it. I would love to know, but do you think that a different manager, are they just weak-minded and the players will have to be replaced, or do you think with a new manager they could just do something? Because I feel like a coach can change everything, but there is something in me that also thinks these players have been purchased by Mikel because they're weak and they're followers or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, can a manager really change their mentality that much? Because damn, they're weak.
There just needs to be fresh ideas for me, man. There needs to be fresh ideas. I'm sure I'm making this sound very easy, but a manager could come in, look at the base of what Arteta's got, the defensive ethos. I don't want to lose Nicholas Hover if Arteta goes, but I think someone could look and say, just play with a bit more freedom. I do think they're behind Arteta. I do think they do all of that, but I just think new ideas now, because it is kind of predictable. You just need new ideas. We just need someone else that has new ideas. And I think there's people like you and me who, can be critical of the team and the manager, but also praise equally. And we all have different opinions. But when we're all done, whether this one likes Arteta, that one doesn't, this, that, and the other, we all can recognize we've had another good chance at the Premier League. And we look at this crop of players and you can win something. I'm not saying you're going to be City or Man United. You need to do something different. We need to. We're not creating enough from open play. We're losing a bit of the street smartness. The in-game management was a step in the right direction. In fact, no, it wasn't really. Obviously, I'm a hypocrite because I said Arteta changed things, but that just sums up what I believe of you, Arteta. We know we're playing Manchester City. I don't doubt you will learn from previous games like you did. I do think you learned from the final, right? You've planned on something all week. You've approached it. The performance was quite there, but in-game management, fair enough, you took off Noni, but add kind of what you just said there about Eze and things. These are the things that have been shooting him in the foot. And then when you look at some point, we're getting into the most decisive end of the season where it is sink or swim and then sentiment's a bit negative. We don't have players that we can call upon because A, they're either not good enough, or B, they've been run into the ground. This whole movie keeps happening. I don't think Arteta can be blamed for just everything, but ultimately, it's all your fault. Like, it is all your fault. If this was a business, I might be the CEO. I might not be there in the day-to-day business, but it's my name on it. Indirectly, everything's there. Everything off the field, let alone on the pitch, is a reflection of you. Even down to, I've never once, not that I'm saying Emre was the guy, but I've never once heard Emre got a say to take off the thing in the stadium, the tunnel and whatnot. There's that. Now I've kind of checked out because you're going to get to run down your contract. I don't know who they're going to get other than that. I don't know what the internal KPIs are, but externally, we all know we want to win. So it's all a big bit of nonsense. But as you said, and which to answer your question, yes, it's easier to get rid of one man than about 20. Don't get it twisted. We all know not everybody can go because it's all fun and games saying 8-man leave. We need to have depth and all of that. But there's very few players that are unsellable, quote unquote. Like if it's not Saliba, Gabriel, Raya, Rice.
That list is getting smaller and smaller.
You see what I'm saying?
As time goes on. And it's just like, I don't want to talk about, I don't get excited talking about who we could buy in the summer because I just know they'll all be shit under this manager because no one really looks good under him now. Like, so it's like, even if you were a baller, eventually the Mikel will rub off on you. I want a new manager. Like, that's it.
I'm not calling Saliba overrated, bro. Okay.
But I feel like that's the thing. It's like, the players are always the issue when people don't want to just look at the manager.
And how often than not had Saliba made the difference? Saliba turned up on last Sunday. Saliba's probably, I said for me, Saliba and Gyökeres, the only ones that fucking turned up at Wembley. And even if that's the case, why are they folding under pressure? It has to come back to the gaffer directly or indirectly. They're all behind. And again, Make no mistake, I'm onto the players as well, because you all talk about how you want to end our drought. You don't want to be empty-handed. You believe in the manager. You've all signed big deals. You like what's going on. I can't doubt you lot's willingness to fall down and get up again. But come on, bro. Come on.
Yeah, you
Allow
got
it,
it.
man.
Yeah. And this whole like, okay, well, well, we're competing and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, what's competing when you're playing terrible football and you're not enjoying and you're not, it's just kind of like it gets long at a certain point. When we were under like Arsenal in the darkest of times, we still won FA Cups and we were in the top 4, which is basically what we're doing now. It's like
in the game,
at the end
bro.
of the day, we're taking home a top 4 finish. And we actually enjoyed sometimes watching our team play. I don't enjoy watching this team play. They're not winning anything. They're always injured. It's just like, if we're just going to be competing, kind of, and making top 4, I would prefer to get somebody in here that can win it.
Win now, bro.
And at least I want to at least enjoy watching us play, because Arteta is like sucked the life out of whatever he built. He sucked the life out of it. There's no energy to it anymore. The players aren't responding. The football is terrible. There's clear problems. Like,
this is why football works in cycles.
Yeah, it's like I just need him to hit the road. I really need him to pack his shit. And like, if he doesn't have enough personal pride to pack his shit, if he doesn't win anything, he's the most devious person I've ever met. Because it's just
because he's gonna believe he can do it. Because now I think there's an arrogance to kind of just do it in this image, like change shit and different shit happens.
And maybe that's the problem, is he believes too much in his own vision, and he's just like, it will work, but it won't. I don't think you really need to recreate the wheel. It's just, you just have to have a dangerous attack, a really good defense, and the right mentality, and be able to be consistent over a certain amount of time.
Is he even listening to his coaching staff for you? Because I mean, it was it was known with Wenger in his first half that he listened to his coaching staff and he kind of stopped. Pep Guardiola is the best example of listening to your coaching staff. He's brought people in. Is he really listening to his coaching staff? Maybe it's the blind leading the blind, but maybe they're sitting there and having these conversations like us, like, yo, why ain't this happening, that happening? So are people challenging donks? Because Berta, big up yourself. You've come in, you've got your feet wet. Yeah, cool. I would say this summer, you need to challenge him. There's no more Kais. There's no more Nonnies. Everything has to fucking make sense. Yeah. Even though I don't even want to talk about next season.
Yeah. It's like the players, if he's here, I just know it's going to be a mess, because he's still doubling down. And I get like, who cares about the way that we play as long as we win? But we're not. So if we're not going to win, I get to talk about the way that we're playing, because the whole thing about not talking about the way that we're playing was, but because we're going to win. We're not. It doesn't look like we are. So now I can talk about the way that we're playing. This football is shit. It's so bad. It's so hard to watch. And I think it's a big reason why the players don't have any energy and no invention or anything. They look like they're going to a funeral every day that they step on the pitch for Arsenal.
Apart from the City game, since the international break, you look like little kids that have lost your mum in the supermarket. I'm tired of and that's one thing I'll say to the players, bro. It's the same old individuals that stand up to be counted. Even if they're dead, they're levels above their teammates. And you can't have that if you want to get to that next level. We've not reached that new level because we've not